Welcome back to lytudiep channel. Wish everyone good health and warmth. Dear friends, so Jame's house was destroyed after the rain. Now they had to rebuild from scratch. Jame, a message from Diep. He will continue to hold her hand to overcome this difficulty that night. The rain fell as if the sky itself was breaking open. The wind howled through the narrow mountain valley, tearing at the trees, whipping across the small clearing where a half-finished wooden house stood trembling in the storm. Inside the downpour, two figures struggled under the weight of soaked boxes and furniture. "Don't come out here, Diep, you're still sick," James shouted over the wind, his voice thick with worry. Diep smiled faintly, her shoulders shaking under a thin plastic raincoat. "It's fine, I just want to help. It was sunny a moment ago. Who could have guessed it would pour like this?" The house was barely complete. The frame still smelled of raw pine, and the tin roof gleamed faintly in the lightning. Yet even as the storm raged, they worked side by side, laughing through their exhaustion. For them, this wasn't just a house. It was a dream, fragile, imperfect, but alive. Suddenly, the storm grew violent. Wind slammed into the walls. One of the wooden posts cracked with a sharp snap. A sheet of metal tore free and vanished into the darkness. "Diep, get out," James yelled, sprinting toward her. He grabbed her just as the structure groaned. The next second, a deafening crash split the air. The house collapsed. When the dust and rain settled, they stood silently amid the wreckage. Wood lay scattered like broken bones. The roof was gone, the floorboards drowned in mud. Diep's voice trembled, barely audible through the downpour. "It's all gone, isn't it?" James placed a hand on her shoulder. "No," he said softly. "We haven't lost anything. As long as you're here, we still have everything." The morning after, the rain finally stopped. The land was a mess, mud, puddles, scattered debris, but the sky was clearing. James bent down, lifted a piece of timber, and smiled. "This time," he said, "we'll build it stronger, a home that won't bow to wind or rain." Neighbors came to help when they heard what had happened. Some brought wood, some cement, others just their hands and kind words. Hammers rang out again, sawdust filled the air, and as the new walls rose, so did their spirits. That night, by the fire, Diep leaned against James's shoulder. "The house may have fallen," she whispered, "but my heart has never felt steadier." James squeezed her hand. "I've lost everything before," he murmured, "but not this time, not when I have you." Days passed. The new house began to take shape, sturdy, bright, and warm. Diep picked curtains and bedding, arranging every little corner with care, while James taught her how to plan, calculate, and think like a businesswoman. "You were right," she said one evening, smiling over a simple meal they shared on the floor. "Being born poor isn't our fault, but dying poor, that's on us." James laughed softly. "Then, my future boss, let's start over together." Outside, the rain began again, but now it was gentle, a rhythm rather than a threat. Weeks later, when the final window was set in place, sunlight poured across the room. Diep leaned against the new frame, watching the chickens that John, the neighbor they'd once helped, was raising nearby. They had given him a chance to start over, just as life had given them one. "So it's finally done," she said. James took her hand and smiled. "No, this is just the beginning." The wind drifted through the open door, carrying the scent of new wood and warm smoke. The house that had once crumbled in the storm now stood tall against the horizon, a testament to love, resilience, and the quiet truth that even from ruins, a new life can rise if two hearts refuse to give up.
Đóng cửa. Tới cái cửa này phải treo cái ngại mới được. Rồi cái này bất tiện là gì? Cái cứng
Mấy cái là giữ cái này ra thì nó đường
là đau sâu phóng sâu vơ cái lỗ cứ lỗ không cứ ra đây. Đấy, lỗ phải lại tôi bật đấy, phải đi từ cái trongขึ้นvào nó. Lỗ này đấy. Anh đây sao con dự án chỗ gần nhà bạn 100 m 17 triệu đấy. Nó sau từ 2020 lúc. 100 m đốt đúng 17 triệu đấy. Cảm ơn số chào. Quá ngon. Chưa nhận thẳng luôn. Sai này 13 12 giờ em 23 đúng rồi là nhiều thì 12 thôi 12 rồi. Đâu vậy? Ở bên. Ba tụi bạn mình. hả? Cái hở cái tim nha hay cái hở tháo của lọc con lọc nó lơi luôn là 5 đến 10 phút gì đấy. Thao tiêu mình ôi trời cẩn thận đấy nha. Chặt là nhà mình thì cao này cao cũng khoai cũng phải mai. Có vợ à?